Good morning. This is Lucy from Designs for Growth, and welcome to this live on a lovely sunny Friday morning in August. I'm here today because I'm going to be having a chat with Vicky Shilling, who is a self-belief business coach, and I think this is going to be a super interesting conversation. This is always a tricky bit. Here we go. Vicky, are you there? You are. Good.
Morning, how are you doing?
How are you today?
Very good, thank you.
Excellent. I'm delighted that we're having this conversation because I know that the work that you do is really, really important to a lot of my customers. Yeah, really excited to hear about what you do and how you help solopreneurs. So maybe we could start if you'd like to introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and who you love to work with.
Much thank you again for having me, inviting me to this. I am Vicky Shilling. I'm a business coach, and in the last few years, I have really been specialising, like you mentioned, in the self-belief and self-trust aspects of running a business. I have helped particularly solopreneurs, lots of people in particularly in the health and wellness space for the last nearly 10 years, set up and grow their businesses, and have taught all the things, how to put packages together, what words to put on your website, how to market yourself with and without social media. I've covered it all. And then really came back to realizing that a lot of the clients that I was helping, it didn't seem to matter how perfect the plan was, how beautiful the branding was, how well designed the website was, how clear the template was to write the words on that website. If you didn't have the right mindset, if you were struggling with your own self-confidence, your self-belief, that there were stories and beliefs in there, it didn't matter what was going on. The business didn't have the success that you wanted. And so that was the bit that I then specialized and trained in a couple of years ago in the self-belief coaching, because that was the bit where I was really hitting walls with clients and realizing I need a toolkit and my clients need a toolkit to really help them utilize all of this amazing information, all of this practical training. The confidence and the belief and the self-trust has to come from within. So that's the bit that I help my clients with now.
Brilliant, brilliant. And I'm sure, I know you're absolutely fixing a problem and plugging a gap, because I see it with my own clients. We dig deep into strategy, we build a new website, the fantastic new brand. And I've had several sort of say to me, this is amazing. This has been like a really deep personal journey. So, but I'm actually finding it difficult to now step into that new version of my brand. I know where I want to go now. I've done the work. I'm excited about it, but there's still something holding me back. So I think, sorry, gosh, that is where the self-belief work really comes into play. So did you retrain Vicky as a coach, or how did you pivot into this work?
So it was more a kind of add-on for the coaching training that I'd already done. So coaching, as lots of people will know listening to this, is different from kind of mentoring, or where people are kind of covering and giving you a strategy and giving you a blueprint. I'd done that mentoring, and I trained as a coach as well, which is more about, helping you find the answers, the solutions. What are you going to do forward looking? But what I felt was kind of missing with that kind of coaching training was the stuff that I added on to my coaching training, which was the self-belief coaching qualification that's done by Sass Petherick, who runs the self-belief school. And that has a nod towards what has happened in the past. It's not counseling, it's not therapy, but it's a real a kind of acknowledgement that where we are in our business and how we show up or don't show up and how we or don't choose our brand is very much a reflection of the stories and the things, experiences that we have gone through, whether that's childhood or previous jobs or current relationships. The kind of stories and the beliefs that we hold are often very protective ones and try and help us to avoid risks, perceived risks. I don't want to disappoint people. I don't want to fail. I don't want to succeed, maybe. I don't want to lose something. I don't want to be judged. All of these kind of things that we may have experienced in the past. We almost definitely have experienced in the past. A lot of us running businesses 30, 40, 50 plus, we've experienced a lot of things, and our brains have been wired to try and protect us from those things that have happened before. So the training that I did was very much to find a way to nod to that, to acknowledge and see the stories, and then find a way forward. How do we move forward, even though we know that protective part of us is there trying to keep us safe? How do we want to move forward instead or alongside that voice?
And so when clients come to you, how do they describe their feeling, or how do they acknowledge that they need your help? Because I hear a lot of people say, if it comes to, say, putting themselves on social media or whatever, well, I don't know what to write about, or I don't know what to talk about, or it's too overwhelming, or I don't know how to use the tech, or but it's actually they're not, well, we've just written your website, so you've loads of content, and you know what your products and services are, we know your customers are, so my question is, how do they, my cat this morning,
Really wants to join in, got lots of opinions on this.
this never happens, it's actually
My
clawing
voice,
at my
Lucy,
leg.
it's my dulcet tones.
Yeah, so I'm wondering how do they express the problems that they're having, or do they say, I just don't trust myself, or how do they express their problems to you?
Yeah, I think it can definitely, like you say, manifest as, I think it's a practical problem. I think I need to rebrand, or I think I don't understand the tech, or I don't have enough people on my mailing list, or I'm just going to join this program that's going to teach me about Instagram, or whatever it is. So it can manifest like that. But often, like you say, especially now we've got things like ChatGPT that can come up with whole marketing plans for you. And of course it's AI, but it can map out an entire month or year worth of content or emails or marketing strategy, a launch strategy for you. This is the point where I think people do end up reflecting and going in, there's something going on here. So it can also show up as a stuckness, as I have aspirations of where I'd like things to be, but I just don't believe I'm that person, or I can't get there, or I never seem to get started with it. I'm in the comfort zone, and I know I've got more to give. I know I want to have more impact. But something always holds me back, and naturally that protective voice turns it into, oh, well, you don't know enough yet, or you just do a few more years, or just get a few more clients, or just earn a bit more money, or just when the kids leave home, or whatever it is that it will do and it will say. But actually that's then when that kind of awareness kicks in of, I know I'm made for more, and only I am getting in my own way. I've done all the things, I've done all the beautiful new website and the branding. I know and I don't want to say the problem here, but there is something going on here, and I want to uncover what that is, and I want to move past it, or move along with it.
And for you, ideally, would you get involved in the process at that stage once the kind of brand strategy has been completed, or would it actually be helpful for you to get in there earlier on in the process? What's your take on that, or do you have an opinion on that?
I think I don't think it matters massively when that kind of realization, that dawning happens. Of course, always the earlier the better. I think you and I know, we run your own business, it's the biggest self-development journey that you ever go on anyway, because you have got all the tools. There are plenty of people teaching you out there, and suddenly you're confronted with, well, if I'm not earning money, or people aren't buying from me, what do I need to know? Yes, of course, there's some practical skills, but beyond getting the basics of those practical skills, what is it that I'm doing, or how I'm thinking, or how I'm showing up or not showing up, that's getting in that way? So I can kind of come in at any point where that self-awareness, I guess, has reached that point. And it might be, like you say, during a process like you do with your clients, where there's that realization of, I'm liking this process, but I'm still afraid of what comes on the other side. I'm still afraid of judgment or criticism, or like failure, or whatever it is on the other side. Or it might be earlier on in the process of, some people are extremely self-aware, they've done some of this work as well before. I don't want people to think that it's just a repeat of the same old self-help stuff. A lot of people are aware of their stories. They know what happened to them in childhood. They know that voice of that horrible old boss that keeps telling them that they're not doing enough, and that's the one that they carry with them. The difference with the work that I do now is, how do we change that? We don't just keep going, oh yeah, well, I keep thinking that because I had this crappy old boss before, let's move on. How do we take that voice, understand it, have some compassion about where it's come from and what it's doing for you, and still smash whatever it is in your goals that you want to achieve for the next few years? So yeah, like any stage really.
And so Can you talk a little bit about the tools then that you use as
Yeah.
part of your process to help people get out of these spirals
Yeah.
of self-doubt or procrastination or call it what you will, but I think
Yeah.
it's really self-doubt is how you describe it. What kind of tools do you use with your clients?
I think the biggest one to start with is the awareness, which a lot of people already starting to have. And the second part, which I think surprises quite a lot of people and is actually a bit anti the patriarchy and how we're taught to run a business, is the compassion that needs to come with it. The tools that I use, we really look at articulating and describing that protective part of yourself. So some people will call it like an inner critic. They will call, describe it as someone horrible, like their old boss or their mother-in-law or some horrible voice that they don't like. But actually, that part of you, whilst that might be how it manifests itself, needs a lot of compassion, because it's a part of yourself that is trying to keep you safe. It's trying to keep you alive. It's trying to keep you liked and needed, and away from uncomfortable situations, uncomfortable places and feelings. That's how the human mind is wired, that we just want ease and comfort all the time, and we know running a business does not involve ease and comfort all the time. So actually that level of compassion, we do a kind of lots of visualizations and a lot of dialogue and conversations with that protector. I call it the kind of safety guardian part of yourself. And then moving forward, the tools that I will be using are to kind of step into that other part of yourself, which again people might know as a kind of inner mentor, or as your true self. Eckhart Tolle talks about it. I call it the true experimenter, because I really believe in this idea of creating experiments, testing things out, having that real kind of, a lot of the people I've helped in health and wellness are very science minded, have that scientific approach to it. Let's test out some new beliefs. What new belief, what belief do I really have, that true part of myself that sometimes just gets bulldozed over or screamed or shouted over by the protective voice? What do I really believe about myself, about my work, about my clients, about how much money I can earn, about my visibility and my reach, and the impact I can have? What's really in there, and how can I find evidence for that? How do I amplify that voice? And that's what I try and do with my clients is, okay, you're feeling this and the protective voice is saying this. What's on the other side, and how can you this week go out and build some evidence, find a way to prove that new belief, there are plenty of clients for my work, or people are willing to pay for what I do, or whatever it is that you know is to be true but isn't loud enough. Let's go and find some evidence for that.
And I'm sure a lot of clients, the evidence is right there because they've maybe been in business 5, 10 years, but they still have this little, for me, I call it a little voice on my shoulder, the little voice that going, yeah, but who are you to think you can do this?
Yeah.
I'm sure you're just Lucy, like, what your hoopy wanted to listen to that little voice. But when you go, I often say to clients who maybe this comes up in conversation is, well, look at your testimonials. Go back and look at the testimonials of the people who've raved about you. And that in itself, that reminds you straight away. It's like, hey, actually, yeah, I am pretty good at what I do. And why am I, so my point really being that you don't just work with people who are starting out in business, because often when we start out, the fear is massive, but it can still be there 5, 10, 15 years
100%.
on as your business evolves, as your brand grows, because it's never a straight line. It's always a little bit of, pivoting and trying new things and maybe trying new customers, whatever. So it's not like we're nervous at the beginning and then it's like, this is a double.
No, and I think that's a misconception, isn't it? That suddenly we should all be way more confident because I've been doing this for 8 years now. Surely I know I've quietened that voice down, and it goes. I think that's the other point, that people feel very angry and annoyed that it's still there. But when we can show that compassion and understand why it's there and where it's come from and work alongside it, then we kind of let down all of that frustration and annoyance and go, yeah, this is a voice that actually we all have. And if we don't have it, I think we're probably, I don't know, slightly psychopathic or just crazy deluded.
Yes.
Don't meet any people that come into my world that are attracted to my way of speaking and my kind of honesty about what business takes. Everybody experiences this at some level, and it affects them in some way. So never look at anybody being visible, going live, putting out their branding, launching a new product or whatever it is, and think that they have no doubt at all, or that they have no questioning at all. They do. It's just how they've learned to navigate it. Thanks very much for that voice. I get it. I hear the protection, but I'm going to do this instead. I'm going to build some other beliefs. I'm going to look at the evidence, like you say, the testimonials, the positive feedback, the things that I can see out there that are the evidence that this is going to work, that this is needed, that this does have amazing potential, and focus on that rather than the protective, diminishing voice that can kick in instead.
And it's reassuring to know that some of the biggest names in business and the biggest sports people in the world, the most successful people in, they all suffer from self-doubt at times as well. As you say, it's part of human nature. But I think it's amazing that for solopreneurs, type of customers that you and I work with, that you're offering this work, because it really is something that holds people back. And I've launched incredible websites for incredible brands, for incredible people and then I don't see them online. I'm like, what's happened? And I know it's that inner voice, or it's something, or they're comparing. I think that's a very common one. I'm sure you'll agree, with people comparing with their peers.
Yes.
They're not actually the ones that they're trying to sell to. But that is very real. And in the world of social media, where we're seeing what everybody is doing, and it's easy to look and see what your competitors are doing, that sort of comparisonitis, I'm sure you'd agree, is a big issue.
And it's worth that the algorithm actually feeds you that. A lot of the clients I work with are nutritional therapists or health coaches. And naturally, when you sign up and you put your profile, I'm a health coach and I help these kind of people, immediately Instagram goes, oh, you're a health coach. Cool. Here's 1,000 other health coaches who are doing brilliantly. And you've got thousands more followers than you and know how to put their content together. And immediately, like you say, that comparison comes out. And equally, people further along in their business, they'll then look, oh, well, they launched at the same time as me. Look what they're doing. Look what they're capable of. Look how much, what platforms they're on, and the numbers that they're achieving, or whatever it is. Yes, that comparison creeps in. And actually, I think the loveliest metaphor that I like with comparison is that idea that we're all on the planet in a different place. So we don't wake up and think everybody in America is just really lazy because they're all in bed right now. We just think they'll get up when the sun comes up for them and it's their time, and we don't think, oh, everybody in China is much more intelligent and clever and going to make more money than us just because they got up 8 hours before we did. It's just, we'll all have our moment, we'll all have our time. No one's in exactly the same place as you. No one starts in the same place, same as nobody has the same stories and belief systems and experiences that you came with. And so some of us have a little bit more work to do on those things in order to see the success we want in our businesses, and that's okay.
That is a lovely way of thinking about it. And I know how much you push people to. I was talking to somebody last week who'd had a problem with OCD, and had gone to see somebody who basically said to them, you just have to stop doing this now. You just have to. She kind of gave him permission to just stop, and it's okay. You don't have to worry about. And she literally kind of pushed him and said, just stop doing this, okay? For the next week, just stop doing whatever it was the person was doing. And it was a bit of a jolt, but it actually worked. So what's your approach? What's your style?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because people who know me and who've worked with me know that I am very direct. They know where they stand with me. I do tell people what I think. If people want my advice or my feedback, people really value that, working with me. Can you give me some honest feedback on my Instagram content at the moment, or what do you think about this marketing strategy? I'm very happy to do that. In terms of the mindset stuff, I guess I'm a bit more gentle with it, because I see a lot of just be confident, just go for it, just do it. And my book is called Just Start Now, so there's an element of that I hold my hands up to. But I also, in the book and in my work, really come back to this belief system that we hold these beliefs. And it's all very well and good saying, today, 1st of January, I'm going to wake up, I'm just going to not think like that anymore. But there's this whole history, and it's often even at a genetic level, people are now saying, the trauma that maybe your mother experienced, or your grandmother, when you were a little egg inside her, that we carry with us, that it's I think it's very simplified. Yes, of course, there's real empowerment in be a confident queen, you know, go out and own your worth. And like, I think I'm all for that, but that isn't the message that I really teach in the kind of mindset work that I do. I do a lot more compassion and understanding. And when my clients get frustrated, oh my God, this is coming up again, I say, brilliant, good. Like, this is the good point to have got to, because now we do the work of changing it. What do you want to believe instead? What are we going to be saying to ourselves this week? So yeah, I'm a bit more gentle, I guess, than that, and a bit I kind of a bit eye rolly with the just do it, just stop doing this, just start doing this, because I do think habits and inbuilt systems and beliefs and protective beliefs are there for a reason, and they're quite embedded, and it does take time, which is a bit frustrating for all of us, but it can be changed.
Fantastic. So you mentioned your book. Do you also have a podcast, Vicky?
I do. I started a new podcast in the last year called The Business of Self-Trust. So I share a lot there around these kind of topics, around what is going on with the mindset, why can't we trust ourselves, what is it that's holding ourselves back, and looking at those things as well. So yeah, that's my new podcast, and my old podcast is called Just Start Now, for anyone that wants to go through some of the other back catalogue of episodes that were nearly 100 of that one as well.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. So I'm delighted that you've joined my Brand Accelerator team. So for anybody who doesn't know, my Brand Accelerator is a 12-week program that basically takes your brand from meh to magic. We start at the beginning. We have Finola Howard on board as well. We start with brand strategy, positioning, and right through to new brand visual identity, photography with the lovely Eva Blake, right through to a brand new website. But as I mentioned earlier, there's definitely a space in there for this work around mindset, because it is a deep, it's not I say it's a 12-week program, and so it's quite compact, but there's deep reflective work in there. And I see people who struggle with this. They really want to take their business to the next level, but there's something that, you know, and so we encourage them along, bring them along. But I really think that your advice and expertise could be of great help to the participants. I'm delighted to have you on the program, and that's one of the reasons I want to talk to you today. If anybody's looking at their website, looking at their branding and kind of going, yeah, that's a bit 2020, it doesn't really reflect where I want to go, the Brand Accelerator program might be a perfect fit for you, and you get to work with Vicky and my other amazing collaborators on the program. So Vicky, thank you so much for today. We might do this again, because I sense there's loads more to dig into, but in the meantime, check out Vicky's website, her book, and 2 podcasts. Yeah. So lots of learnings to be had, and thanks again, Vicky, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Pleasure. Thanks so much for having me, Lucy. Speak soon.
Cheers.